Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the On and Odd Pods. I'm your host, Will Rooney, and as ever, I am joined by regular tipsters, Gibbs and Anthony Kelley. Evening, lads, how are we?
Hello, Will, you okay?
Right, Not too bad, Henry, are you?
Yeah, looking forward to the weekend action. Can't wait to get stuck into it again with yourself and Ant.
Indeed, and we are back at Presby Park once again this weekend for Cheltenham, and it starts on Friday afternoon. Before we get into Cheltenham, lads, I know that we recorded our anti-post podcast earlier in the week. We touched on Altior, etc. But were there any horses that we missed out over the last week that we want to touch upon, or do we want to get straight into the action ahead?
I made a note of two, well, just quick ones. First one, Kimberlite Candy ran in the Beach of Chase at Aintree. It opens up around 6-1 and drifted right out to 14-1, which suggested to me Connections thought it was obviously going to need the run, especially on soft ground just over 3 miles. So I was quite impressed with how that ran first run of the season, and an absolute cracker finishing second. It's going to improve for that run, and I think it'll be a likely national contender, including the one in Aintree, but there may be a couple of others along the way. The other one that went in my notebook was a horse called Conflated. It's a Gordon Elliott novice chaser, and I think it might just sneak under the radar because he's obviously got some really big name novice chasers, and this one won at Navan by 17 lengths. Chasing appeared to be the make-em of him, really, and he had the big getaway in behind. That was in third, which disappointed. That's what all the rage was for, but Conflated looked exceptional, to be honest. And like I said, just might be one to keep an eye on because you might get a decent price for it with it just flying under the radar a little bit.
Good stuff. And anything for yourself, Ant?
Only one for me. Sorry, Will, was All Mankind's. Went round Sandown quicker than Politolog in the big race to Tingle Creek. Obviously, All Mankind's beat a few decent sorts there in Hitman, Garlaw, Eldorado, Wallen. I think if it settles a bit better in front, it could be something special over fences. Might be a bit of an obvious thing to say, but that'll be something for me to follow for the rest of the season. Definitely All Mankind chasing. Very impressed so far. Looks like it's stuck to it like a duck to water. A lot more impressed with them over hurdles than over fences. Than what I am there hurdles.
Definitely, I've got it. He hasn't to compete with in the division, but he should improve plenty before we get to the Arkle in March. Well, we will go to Cheltenham, lads, and we'll start on Friday, where there is ITV action. I mean, we're getting spoiled, aren't we, by the amount of terrestrial racing that's on of late. And the 150 is the Peterborough Chase, which has been moved to Cheltenham after it was cancelled. It was postponed at Huntingdon on Sunday due to the waterlogged track. And it's an 8-runner affair. Ant, who do you like in the race?
I like 2. I've got a soft spot for Top Notch, but it's never won round Cheltenham. It's been off track since January, so they're the negatives. Does go well fresh, Top Notch. It did win this race last year, all beat round Huntingdon, of course. Not here at Cheltenham. Just on that bit of a ridiculous decision to move a race like this to Cheltenham. Going the other way round, it just doesn't make sense to me at all. Moving this to Cheltenham, but I suppose that's a different story, a different argument for a different day, maybe. Also, I'm going to pick here though is Fanion Destreval, the Venetia Williams charged, very lightly raced. I was impressed last season when it beat Southfield Stone in the Ladbrokes Chase at Newbury. Southfield Stone's no mug, as we've seen. It's one at Cheltenham this season. Felt first time out this season at Cheltenham. I think it was touched off by Magic Saints. Did peck on landing at the last fence, so I think we would have got a bit closer with Fanion Destreval that day. I think it will come on for that run. So yeah, I'll be going for Fanion Destreval, especially with the Venetia Williams' horses seem to be in form normally this time of year. So saying that's my selection for the Peterborough.
And Henry, for yourself, back in little Top Notch to win what is his Gold Cup these days?
I mean, I can see why Top Notch is favourite. It's got the form in the book, hasn't it? It's proven at this level. But he is 9 now, and he's not the one I'd put my faith in, like Anne said, record round Cheltenham. Although he's got a few decent placed efforts, he's never managed to get his head in front. One interesting point is he has had a wind up over the summer, and Henderson horses, he does have a good record with horses running after a wind up. So I can certainly see the argument for top notch, but I prefer Henderson's other one in this, Mr. Fisher, for me. He was disappointing last time out, don't get me wrong, but I just think he's a better horse than that. I think he's better suited by these smaller fields. Proved that he's won a 6-runner race over course and distance on soft ground last season here at Cheltenham, where he had a couple of good sorts in behind in Good Boy Bobby and Beakstown. He's obviously ran over 2.5 miles as well in the Ryanair back in March, where I think it was pretty decent renewal. The front three would always near the front. Mr. Fisher managed to finish 4th, beating about 4 lengths, and he was the only one that really come to challenge from off the pace there. So I'm happy to forgive the one bad run. Like I said, I don't think the big fields in a handicap suit Mr. Fisher. I think he's better when he can just be held up. Like you said, 8 runners should be perfect for him. And I think he is quite a class horse who has the potential to improve again this season, where we sort of know where top notches are. I don't think we've got quite to the bottom of Mr. Fisher yet. So he's the one for me.
Just ask you, Henry, what do you think of Kalashnikov's chances? That's done us a few times, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember at Aintree when we were on Labago War, and that just pipped us, didn't it, to get Amy Murphy's. I think it was a first grade one, weren't it?
Yeah, it was a bad day for us that way. And I remember walking up on the Thursday, it was absolutely chucking it down, and we were loving the fact that we backed Labago War. Anti-post at a decent little price, didn't we? But Kalashnikov come and spoiled our dreams. I mean, it wasn't great, was it, on his comeback run, but whether that set him up for this, he's another one who has a wind up over the summer, and they do say, don't they, it tends to improve second time because it knows that the horses know that it can obviously breathe a lot better. Looks like there's been a little bit of money coming for Kalashnikov already, but it's just not a horse I can put a lot of faith in, so I'd be happy to watch him destroy us again and probably beat both of our selections in a photo.
That's exactly what I'm thinking, to be honest. I can just see it getting his head up, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna change my mind though, but it's my bogey horse, Kalashnikov. It always wins when I'm not on it. And I think, like you say, that could be a pipe opener that Henry, that hurdles run for today.
I think you both need to have a little cover bet on that, definitely. The 225 at Cheltenham, which is a grade 3 affair, is the Unipet handicap chase race over 3 miles and 2 furlongs. Court Made, your current 11-4 favourite. Black Hawtons in there 7-2. Storm Control 5-1. West Approach 6-1. If we come to you first, we'll go to you, Henry. You'll have the honours to find the winner in this trappy 7-runner race, you'd say.
Yeah, it's another pretty decent betting race, isn't it, for punters? You could argue all 7 are going to have a fairly decent chance. The market's quite tight. Court Made was one that I was impressed with. A couple of weeks ago, I actually backed it when it won in Ireland. Had a decent price in a handicap. Got a £5 penalty here, and it's probably a worthy favourite, getting near enough a stone off Black Hawton. But at the prices, I'd be happy to play Storm Control here for Kerry Lee. Storm Control won well here last time out. Stepped up in trip, and it seemed to really be suited by it. Won well. Still unexposed at this trip, and I expect him to continue to improve throughout the season. Kerry Lee's horses like it, getting the feet into the ground really. So the soft ground should be great. We all know how important course form is around Cheltenham. It's absolutely golden, isn't it? Because so many horses don't take to the track, and the fact that he seemed to put his best performance up of his career here at Cheltenham last year, I'm happy to stick with him. He's going to be racing off 10 stone 3, so he's getting there enough 2 stone off the likes of Black Hawton, and he's getting not far off a stone off Court Made. So I think some of the others in behind are slightly interesting, but I like that proven course form and current form. So I'll be going with Storm Control here to have another win at Cheltenham.
And for yourself, Ant?
I haven't really got a strong opinion on this one, to be honest, Will. I think Black Horton's carrying too much weight to win this. West Approach, can't trust it. Court Maid's the one that I've kind of landed on. It won the Porter's Town last time out on the 29th of November. It won it easily, to be fair. That was over 3 mile 5, though. Bit shorter on Saturday, the 3 mile 2, but it did beat some decent handicappers that day, like the Fours of Milan Native, High Sparrow. You know, some decent yardsticks there. You'd like to think that it's come out the race well with it saying it's sending it to Cheltenham so soon afterwards. What are we? 11 days at the minute of recording after that race, so it'll be about 2 weeks when it runs on Saturday. So I'm probably gonna land on Court Maid for my selection. Potentially, I'd probably throw a dart at Commodore as well. Looked like it was going to hack up last time at Haydock in attritional conditions.
I backed that at Haydock last time out, and I think it scarred me. 20-1 it was, and that Haydock running just kills me every time.
Got done. They're basically on the line, didn't it, by Sutton staying on a bit stronger. Yeah. But like you say, it was attritional that day at Haydock, as it normally is. When the rain comes down, ground probably be a bit better at Cheltenham. I know you've got to rely on it coming up the hill. Last time Commodore run at Cheltenham as well, I believe pulled up, but I'd be willing to take a chance running off 10 stone to Venetia Williams, like I said earlier there, with Fanny on Esteval, normally in form this time of year. So yeah, it's a toss up between Court Maid and Commodore, but I'll go for Court Maid, but I am quite sweet on Commodore as well at the weights.
Yeah, no points. No strong fancies, but you've tipped up 2 there. So have you got any other strong fancies across Friday, or shall we go on to Saturday?
Go on to Saturday, Will, if you like.
Henry, anything for you?
Just one in the cross country, really. Boo de Brise, Philip Hobbs charge. He obviously knows what it takes to win a cross country race after one of my favourite horses of all time, Balthazar King. And I think he could have, probably not to the same level, but another good cross country horse on his hands here. He looked to really enjoy the unique challenge on his cross country debut when he finished second last month over course and distance. I think he can learn from that, and he now gets £5 off the winner. So I think at the prices, he's a good each way bet on Friday.
Excellent stuff, Henry. Well, we're going to Saturday then, and the 150 is the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup handicap chase. A grade 3 affair. It's just like the Paddy Power, really, isn't it? But a little bit later in the season, and I'm just getting the betting up in front of me now. Currently, we have Master Tommy Tucker 6-1, El Dancer 13-2, Kepage 7-1, Winded Avenue 7-1, Cool Cozy won the Paddy Power 8-1, 10-1. Bar and you've got a strong fancy in this, haven't you?
Fancy El Dancer. It's already beaten Master Tommy Tucker and Newton Abbott this season. It had a lot of these in this race behind it as well in the Paddy Power Gold Cup. It's been put up £1 for that third there, but I think he's going to be rode slightly more prominently. I don't think Cool Cozy will get it all its own way up front, especially with Master Tommy Tucker there as well. I think those two could take it out of each other up front, and I think something like Al Dancer just sitting in behind could pick up the pieces here. I think Al Dancer was, if you look at that Paddy Power as well, it was last half a furlong, it appeared to be staying on. I think it certainly will benefit from that run. Like I say, it's already beat Master Tommy Tucker this season, and I am still concerned about Master Tommy Tucker's jumping. Sorry, every time he doesn't get his own way in front, he falls basically. Bit of pressure up front, he'll fall, and you can't trust a horse like that in a big handicap at Cheltenham. Now, I could have egg on my face. It could go from the front and jump them all into submission and win by, 5 or 6 lengths. But the evidence that we've got so far suggests that won't happen. I'm sure Henry will probably disagree there, as I know he's a big Master Tommy Tucker fan, but I just can't have it. I can't trust him. That opinion might change, obviously, if it hacks up on Saturday, but as we stand at the moment, definitely not for me.
Henry, I think Hans will have egg on his face come 2 o'clock on Saturday because you're a big fan of Tommy Tucker, and if he wins this, then he's got to be entered in grade 1s after this, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think this is like I said on the anti-post preview we done a couple of days ago. I think this will be make or break for Master Tommy Tucker. It's a big test, isn't it? Handicap. Everyone knows how much I love the horse. I do rate it highly, and if he does get his own way, he's certainly a graded horse. It certainly could be grade 1 if he managed to get his own way in front in a grade 1 race. I wouldn't put it past him winning a top race over the next few months. In terms of this race, it's a tricky one. It's going to be a massive ask, isn't it? It's going to be carrying 11 stone 12, giving weight to everything. And like Hans said, I just worry that he might not get his own way in front here. He is one of my selections because I just think he is the class edge in the race. And if Cobden can get to the front on him and set the fractions, just his jumping has improved a lot over the last couple of runs, and I think that'll hold him in good stead here. He's not coming off the back of a fall. Even, don't get me wrong, his first run of the season, he stayed up, but his jumping was similar to last season. He wasn't great. He managed to finish second, and that's what. If he jumped all right, he would have beat Aldancer, in my opinion. It was the mistakes that cost it. It's then won his next 2, jumping well, and this is make or break. And at the price, he's probably worth a win bet. So there's no point backing him each way because he'll probably either win or finish out the back of the telly. So it'll be a win bet for me. But another one I do like is Windsor Avenue. Brian Ellison charge. I think this is another really good horse. It's probably the best in Ellison's yard, and he has got some strong form in the book if you look through. He won a couple of races this time last year by 21 lengths and 12 lengths at Sedgefield and Carlisle. He then disappointed at Doncaster, but it was over 3 miles, and I think the horse ideal distance is going to be the 2.5 that he'll get on Saturday. He made a pleasing comeback run in November at Carlisle in a listed chase where he was only beaten 2 lengths by Imperial Order, and we know what that's done to that form now, and I think he's another horse that could be better than handicap class. So he's got a nice racing weight of 11 stone 3, and I do rate Brian Hughes as a jockey, so they're going to be the 2 for me on Saturday.
I'm happy you've mentioned Windsor Avenue there because I was going to land on that, but I've been looking at its form, and the only thing that put me off it.
Sorry, Andy, just say that again.
So I was looking at Windsor Avenue before. I was going to land on that as my selection, but what put me off is it's only running small fields, hasn't it? I'm just worried is the hustle and bustle of a
yeah, that is a concern. Yeah, definitely.
Hustle and bustle of a big handicap at Cheltenham. It could well prove me wrong. That's the reason why I never pick Windsor Avenue, just because it's only running in small fields. But it has that run last time out was on the back of wind surgery as well, up at Carlisle, and that did take my eye behind Imperial Order. Sam Brown as well, and Black Hop in behind that day. So there, no mugs, brewing up a storm as well. But that ran a stinker again the other day. So yeah, if I was going to have 2 horses, I probably would have Aldancer and Windsor Avenue in this, but
yeah, you're definitely taking a chance with Windsor Avenue. But if I don't know, if it can get into a nice rhythm early, it's certainly classy enough to win a race like this. So at the price, you'd be happy to take it. Oh well, I'm risking it really, aren't I, with 2 horses that could fall at the first couple of fences. But if they do both manage to get into a nice rhythm, it could be a little forecast instead.
What odds are we on Windsor Avenue?
Let's have a look. Best odds 7-1 with William Hill, I can see.
I mean, each way better not, isn't it? Potentially.
Yeah, it's all on the jumping, isn't it? Like it's both. If the first couple of fences are going to be crucial, he's going to be held up, isn't he? And hopefully, I wouldn't be surprised if Hughes has him quite wide early on just to get a clear view of his fences to try and help him get into a rhythm. But
that's
I just think he's got good form, and I think if he can do it, like you said, hustle and bustle is going to be key. But we'll know our fate early on with probably both my selections.
That's the worry with me. Well, not the worry necessarily. I don't think the rest of the jockeys are going to let Cool Cody and Master Tommy Tucker get a big lead at the front, because they're not going to get it back, are they? So I think they'll run a lot more closely to those two in front. I don't think they're going to let those two get away in this race.
No, you wouldn't think so, especially after what Cool Cody done last time in the Paddy Power. They gave that a bit of a soft lead, and everyone thought it'd come back to the field, and it never really did. It fell more when it that. So they'd be foolish to make a similar mistake in this race on Saturday.
No, I agree.
Good stuff, lads. We'll go on to the 225, which is the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, registered as the Bristol Novices Hurdle. It's a 3 mile affair. At the minute, there are 10 runners in it. We haven't got declarations yet, so we're not quite sure who might be in it. But at the minute, Ashtown Lads is the 3-1 favourite. Henry, will come to you first on this one.
Yeah, like you said, we've only got the decks at the moment, and I'm hoping that I think a lot of the ones that are currently in the 5-day decks will appear in the 48-hour decks tomorrow. So it's quite a trappy little race, isn't it? I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Danny Kerwin, a horse that has cost me quite a bit of money in the past, but he did doing well last time out. Whether I think he wants a trip like this, I doubt he wants 3 miles around Cheltenham. I think 2.5 would be ideal for him. So he's not going to be my selection on Saturday. The one I like is the Nigel Twiston Davis one of the outsiders. It's called Took the Lot. He just stays all day, and it's what you want in a race like this. He's going to relish it, especially on soft grounds. Last 2 runs, he's run up banger. Don't get me wrong, he hasn't beat much, but he's really impressed me the way he's travelled, and he's found a lot for pressure, staying on strongly right through the line. He's totally unexposed, and he's just an improving sort. He knows how to get his head in front, and like I said, I think a few of the others in here, I don't think they want this sort of trip where he'll want every yard of it. The likes of Danny Kerwin, Win House is another one for Alan King. I think he'll probably want top of the ground if it was to get 3 miles. I don't think that'll get home either. Ashtown Lads being quite impressive, but whether he's another one who wants a battle, there's something about the Skelton horses for me at Cheltenham. They seem to always come there on the bridle, but they don't tend to get up the hill. I think his horses tend to do a lot of the winning on flat tracks where the strong travelling comes to the fore, really. Asker Honeybee for Fergal O'Brien. He's been a bit awkward, really, last couple of runs. It looks like he's just got to the front a bit too soon, and he's being pipped. I think he's still a bit novice. He needs a bit more experience. And yeah, I'm happy with Tuck the Lot in this at a decent each way price.
And were you one of the ones who done your absolute conkers on Danny Kerwin at Aintree in the bumper a couple of years ago, or was that only your colleague?
It was I done the absolute conkers on the back of a certain somebody's advice, like won't name that person. No. In this race, Will.
What an idiot he must be.
Like I say, I'm not naming names. No, don't rate Danny Kerwin at all. He'll be having nightmares coming out of the stable heading to Cheltenham. Not a chance he's going to win this, in my opinion. Once again, I could end up with egg on my face there, but I doubt I will. Henry's mentioned Winhouse there. Going to get a mares allowance here. It's 2 out of 2 over hurdles so far this season. Obviously, taking a step up in class she is, and she's got plenty to find on ratings, but she just seems to have a willing attitude, and got to disagree with Henry. It looks like, from me, she would appreciate the step up in slip. Not like she was battling on bravely to win last time, so she got every yard of that slip. So I'm not concerned about the slip for her. One I've landed on though is the Gordon Elliott charge for Kira, I believe it's called. Ran first time out this season over the shorter slip of 2 miles. It needed every yard of that, just getting up to win by a nose. Gordon Elliott then stepped it up to 2 mile 4. Won again, staying on through the line. That was a grade 3. It beat one of the novice hurdlers to follow this season. I was impressed by him last time out, so I'd certainly be on for Caviar here to win. See what odds win house is on the day, and possibly a bit of an each way on there if she's a decent price, but very impressed with Caviar coming in after winning the grade 3 contest.
Yeah, she's been kept to good ground or a bit of good to stop win now, so I'd just be worried about.
No, I've seen her about the ground. She probably will be a bit ground dependent. But
superb stuff, lads. We'll go on to the 3 o'clock then, lads, as the feature of the meeting, which is the International Hurdle, a grade 2 affair. And finally, we're seeing Goshen back over hurdles after his dramatic fall in the Triumph Hurdle. He's 2-1 at the minute. Song for Someone 9-2, Silver Streak 5-1, Soul Royale, Anthony's favourite horse 11-2. And I mean, we said in our anti-post preview the other day, didn't we, lads, that if you're going to be backing Goshen for this, then you may as well back him for the Champion Hurdle as well at this stage, because if he wins, he's going to shorten up quite significantly, you'd say, Henry.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, there's not much on this side of the RSC, is there, in terms of horses that can challenge Epatante. It looks like this field on Saturday is the best we've got, apart from Nicky Anderson's mare. So if Goshen wants to be a Champion Hurdle contender, he's going to have to win this race, and he's going to have to win it well. As much as I hate the horse, I think it'd be great for the division if he does win the race well, but it's not one I'll be putting my faith into at the 2-1 mark. I think Song for Someone, you can get 5-1 with William Hill. I think that's got to be an each way bet to nothing, because I just think I can't see this horse being out the top 3. I'm open. Obviously, you've got Goshen, but I think Goshen, you'll want to sit him just off the pace, because they sort of did the same thing in the Triumph Hurdle, and he had no issues with it. So I'm hoping Song for Someone will get a bit of a lead again. There's quite a lot of horses in the lineup that like to be held up. So if he can get his own way in front again, it could be a similar result to what we've seen in the 3-runner race with Lorena and Call Me Lord, where when he turns into the straight, he could just leave a lot of them for dead. Don't get me wrong, I think there's a few better horses in this that might be able to go with him, but Song for Someone has got the fitness edge over Goshen. He jumps slickly, he's very fluent, and he likes it with a bit of cut in the ground. So I'd be happy. 5-1. You're probably going to get a 5th 1, 2, 3, aren't you, with most bookies? And I think that's got to be a good bet. But I do hope Goshen wins, but it's Song for Someone for a betting proposition for me.
And this is another opportunity this season to eulogise Soul Royale and what an underrated horse he is.
It is, but I'm going to stick my faith with Goshen at 2s. Like I say, I've already explained in the Anti-Post podcast my opinion on Goshen. With Soul Royale, I am a bit concerned though. This is going to be a 4th run so far this season. I don't know why.
Strange that, isn't it? I don't know why you keep running it.
I've got no idea why you'd. In terms of, it's been one of the talking points, hasn't it, last week, in terms of bottoming a horse. Is this not a prime example of potentially doing that, or is Alan King just running it while it's good in the ground description, basically, just getting as much as he can out of Show Royal? Obviously, we know it won't like it heavy or particularly soft. That's the only reason I can see why it could potentially be running here. But I can't be backing, as much as it kills me, I can't be backing Show Royal at 9-2 on a 4th run within such a short space of time. Song for Someone, Henry's got a great point on. I think it won well last time out, all beating a small field race. But like I say, listen to the Anti-Post podcast if you want my opinion on Goshen and why it'll win today. Well, Saturday, sorry.
I agree with you, guys. I think that Goshen's going to come out, and I think that it's going to put all doubt to bed. I think that, as you said, campaign's very strange if you discussed with the flat runs, but this is different kettle of fish when it goes back over hurdles. It just seems to light up, doesn't it? It seems to absolutely relish it, and I think he will win impressively and go to about 5-1 for the Champion Hurdle. Anything else across the day on Saturday, lads? There's obviously a couple of graded affairs at Doncaster. And for you, anything?
Nothing that I've looked at yet. I'll put it on the Twitter feed if there's anything that we like in between now and Saturday. A bit difficult with the decks not being out, but obviously we want to get the podcast out before Thursday, so I haven't got any at the moment, but I'm sure Henry might.
Henry,
Yeah.
anything that you've looked at?
Yeah, just having a little look now at Doncaster. The novice chase, 3 mile, I think the favourite. It'll prove tough to beat there. Of all the gin joints, he impressed me last time out, and I think the Tizard horses will just continue to improve with every run that they have this season. He's managed to have 2, won his second start, so I think he's a wary favourite. Whether he's a betting proposition, I doubt it. And then you've got the juvenile Earl at Doncaster, which we've seen some decent winners in the past. The likes of Peace and Co. have won this before going on to win the Triumph Hurdle. We don't know what's going to line up there. I'd be surprised if the Gary Moore charge, Nasalem, lines up after obviously winning through the week. So you can rule that one out, even though it's priced up at 9-2. I think Nichols thinks a lot of his horse, Mon Morale, so that could be one maybe to get on anti-post for the Triumph prior to Saturday, because I'm sure whatever does win this race will shorten. But similar to Ant, really, I've only had a proper look at Cheltenham, and I'm sure you'll see me tips on social media either Friday night or Saturday morning, so just keep an eye out for them.
Superb, fellas, superb. Make sure you do follow the On the Knob pod on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube. Right, time for the end of the podcast, and as ever, I'm going to ask you for your naps and your next best bet. Henry, come to you first.
Yeah, in terms of me nap, I'd probably go for Tucked a Lot in the Albert Bartlett on Saturday, as long as it gets in. Hopefully it does get declared tomorrow, and as soon as it does, I'll probably pull the trigger straight away, because I can see the money coming in for that. I think he's a really good horse, and like I said, I just think he's going to be better suited by the slog on Saturday than a lot of his market principles. In terms of a next best, I'm going to put up the cross-country race on Friday, Boo de Brise. Like I said, I just think he really took to it last time out, and I think he can learn from that and a bowl big, getting weight now off the horse that managed to beat it last month. So Nap Tucked a Lot, but next best is Boo de Brise on the Friday.
Answers your thunder being stolen, or are you going to able to cobble together a couple of others for us?
Next best was going to be Fikiria in the Albert Bartlett, but sure we can make an alteration. Nap's obviously Goshen at 2s. Going to shorten up for the champion if it wins. So get on at 10s now. Do you know what? I'll go for Al Danson as my next best in the Caspian Caviar. I think it would have done well, and it wouldn't surprise me the way it was staying on a bit up the hill last time. It wouldn't surprise me if it did get its head in front. So yeah, I'll go for Al Danson next best and Goshen as being Nap at this stage. Before we've got the decks, of course, that could change. If it does, we'll put that up on social media. Also worth mentioning, Will, as well, we are going to be doing, me and Henry, a syndicate basically with Colossus bets on Saturday, where we'll basically have 6 races. Me and Henry will pick 3 horses each, and we'll put them into a syndicate. So any listeners or followers on Twitter, they can choose to buy into that syndicate on Colossus bets. If you join using the On the Nods referral code there, when they join, they can buy into the syndicate. Obviously, if we win the jackpot, it's all explained on the website. We all get a percentage of the syndicate. So,
well, touch woods, we can get off to a winning start with Colossus bets. And as I said, if you haven't had a bet, make sure you're 18 and gamble responsibly. You've been listening to the On the Knob podcast. We'll be back next week to preview the Long Walk Hurdle. So join us next time.